Welcome back to DVC Weekly. This is episode 128, and my name is Jason Rippelding. I'm the broker of Buy and Sell DVC. I'm here with Scott Ferrioli.
I'm the owner of DVC-Rental.com and BuyandSellDVC.com.
And hopefully after last week, you have come back. We will try to keep this episode shorter.
There's nobody watching right now because everybody's at Vero Beach.
Everyone's like, that last week's episode took way too long. So we're going to try to go a little faster here. So today's July 19th, 2023. The 11-month mark is going to be June 19th, 2024. And the 7-month mark is February 19th, 2024. As always, you can find Buy and SellDVC.com if you're looking to sell your property or buy a property, and DVC-Rental.com. Remember the dash to save the cash. If you need to rent out some points, or if you need to book your reservation, because if you're looking to book Vero Beach, I don't think you can book it unless you're a member or you're renting someone's points.
I think they keep some rooms open for non-DVC, for non-point rentals, but I heard it's almost impossible to get. So I'd say 95% of the rooms that are booked there are on points. So you will need to rent points.
I mean, I'm already starting with Vero Beach, but I didn't include this last episode. When I checked in, because when we were there in March,
he's very excited still.
The ocean's not as warm. So I said, what's the occupancy rate right now? What do you think the occupancy rate was?
99?
98%. And I'm like, and the resort didn't seem packed. I got to stop on Vero Beach. Oh. Okay.
You're killing me because you're making me want to go to Vero Beach, man.
No.
This is the first year.
Your older son doesn't like it. You need to not go there.
This is the first year in several years that we don't have plans to go to Vero Beach in the summer.
You got too many cruises to do.
We've had too much stuff going on. I'm going, man, I want to go to Vero Beach.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. It's too far for you. Remember you were talking about the drive?
I'll just drive to Obasso for the day and 6 a.m. and go to the beach.
So today I'm just going to try to stay on track and not discuss any more Vero Beach, but I'm going to talk about the buying basics. And one of the questions that you see a lot on the different Facebook groups, and I get questions, we get questions is, can you make an offer? Yes. 95% of the time, buyers make offers on properties. And of course, this depends on the current market situation. It depends on the particular listing. Depends on the number of banked points in the property. And of course, it depends on how the seller has priced the property, because every seller is different in how they price their property. In between January and June, it's very common for a buyer and seller to agree on a certain price per point, buyer paying closing costs, and buyer to pay the dues on the points that they're getting for the current year. Once it comes to June 1st, you start seeing a sprinkle of listings where a seller will advertise it as no annual dues until the beginning of the next year. What that means is that you buy a property, let's just say it's a 200-point listing at Saratoga Springs with the June use year. You're buying it after June 1st of that current year. So it's advertised as 200 points currently available, 200 points coming the following June, priced at such and such per point, buyer paying closing costs, buyer paying dues beginning next year. That means you get those current year's points. You don't have to pay dues on those points.
We said buyer pays closing dues. And seller?
No, buyer pays dues beginning
that's right,
beginning January of the next year.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you get those current year points. I'm trying to make it so you can watch this video 10 years from now and it still makes sense, but I better throw in years. I mean, if you're getting 2023 points, you don't have to pay the dues on those, and it's going to close, and then Disney's going to send you a bill, and then you're going to pay the dues. Now, if you would have bought that property in March, you would have had to pay the dues on those points from 2023. Yeah. But it gets to June 1st, you start seeing them, and then it starts sprinkling in. And then by September 1st, almost every listing that you see is going to have the dues beginning January of 2024. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at listings. Now, some of the small point listings, they'll always be listed as you have to pay dues because it's 25 points, and usually the seller can get it because the property's in more demand than, say, a 250 point listing. And then the other thing, Really, I covered everything. I'm trying to make this a little shorter this week, so that's it. I mean, you can make an offer, purchase price, closing costs, dues. Again, after June 1st, you'll start seeing listings where you're going to get the points from 2023, and you're not going to have to pay the dues on those points. So keep that in mind now as you're shopping for listings and getting ready to buy a property.
So just out of curiosity, what is the current market rate for Vero Beach points?
I mean, one thing about
200-point contract.
I mean,
Current points has 2023 points on there.
So when I answer this question, keep in mind, there's always
I don't want to go too short here because
there's always going to be properties that sell for more per point and less per point than this. But I would say that's going to sell for around $69 to $71 a point.
Okay.
Now, keep in mind, there are some rare Vero Beach subsidized contracts out there. I don't even think they hit the market anymore because people just are going to hold on to them until the end of time. But if they hit, then they sell for even more because they have lower dues. But just to add to what he says, I see it on Facebook all the time. People go, it happens, I will tell you, more at Hilton Head. So don't forget about Hilton Head, because even though I haven't been there yet, you should go to Hilton Head instead of Vero Beach so I can get my reservations at Vero Beach. But the people that go to Hilton Head, they're another group that they go back year after year. I tried to go there, guys. I tried to go there January 1st, January 5th, couldn't get a reservation, so we went to Vero. You can't get into Hilton Head. Look at a calendar. You can't get in there.
I actually had a reservation for Hilton Head for our family this year for end of May into June. I had booked that far in advance with Hilton Head points to lock it in. And then the Europe cruise came up 2 weeks later. And so we abandoned our Hilton Head reservation and stuck with the European cruise. But we were supposed to go to Hilton Head for the first time in like 6 years, and I was excited about that. But then Europe came up, and we're like, all right, we can't squeeze in a Hilton Head trip 2 weeks before going to Europe. That would be just crazy.
And the Hilton Head people, like, they go there, and like, let's say they're staying on their Grand Floridian points or whatever, and then they go there, they stay there, and then they're buying Hilton Head points constantly. You see it all the time. I just bought a Hilton Head. I just bought a Hilton Head.
The Hilton Head is beautiful as well.
Yeah, so don't forget Hilton Head. I mean, Vero Beach is good, but
I do like Vero.
We got to get our reservations at Vero, so keep going to Hilton Head too. So let's move on.
All right.
Food review of the week.
Ty,
back to Scott.
Ty, this has been nuts already. Roll the magic thing, and we'll do the review.
Come here, I'm gonna eat you! Get in my belly!
So today's food of the week, I am back to somewhere I've been several times already. Not recently though. Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater, which is always a very fun experience. I will say, and have you been to Sci-Fi Theater?
At the Hollywood Studios?
Yeah, at Hollywood Studios.
I mean, I have, but it's been way too long for me to answer any questions about it.
As you know, they always have, the movie, not movie, it's mostly just like movie clips and previews and stuff going on in the background on the big screen while you sit in a car and you pretend you're in the 50s or 60s at a big drive-in theater. They have one clip play. It's like a 45-minute clip. So if you sit there and you're eating, more times than not, you're going to loop the clip that's going to start from the beginning. Why they can't have two different ones that they rotate or make it more than 45 minutes so you don't end up looping it. I think maybe they, now I'm thinking about it, I think they probably have it at 45 minutes because otherwise people would sit there and they say, I want to watch the whole thing. But if
they're trying to get you out of there.
If you've looped it, they want
turnover.
Exactly, they want more turnover. Otherwise, they would just sit there. If it's for 2 hours, they'll pretend it's a movie and just sit there and watch it, even though they've been done eating for an hour. But I would love if they had two different ones or something like that, at least so that you see different stuff. But I guess I see why they're doing it now. I ruined it because I was annoyed that they don't do that, and I've already answered why they don't do it. Anyway, I had the drive-in barbecue burger for $23. Our signature blend of beef and house-made seasoning served on a brioche bun topped with 9-hour smoked pork, bourbon bacon jam, cheddar, lettuce, and barbecue sauce. I will say that the burger came out lukewarm. It was like room temperature at best, which is a little off-putting as it is. And even with the smoked pork, the bourbon bacon jam, and the barbecue sauce, I felt that the burger was lacking in taste. Like it wasn't, you figured all that stuff. I mean, that's very powerful tasting things. It just, there was not a huge taste to it. Definitely not as good as the burgers I've had at Whispering Canyon and the Geyser Grill, which are both at Wilderness Lodge, which I think so far have been the best burgers I've had. I think maybe both might have been bison burgers. I don't know if one was regular, one was bison, but so far I found that Wilderness Lodge said the best burgers I've had on property. I'll definitely go something else if I go back there, and I definitely will be going back to sci-fi dining. It's always a bunch of fun, but I give this a 6.5. Not terrible, and it probably would have been. I'm sure it probably would have been better had it been warm, but it just came out like room temperature. And I told the waiter afterwards. I told him after I paid the bill and after I gave him his tip, because I didn't want him to think that I was trying to like get it taken off.
I'm scared to know what's coming.
No. I said, listen. I said, I've already taken care of him and everything. And I was like, just as a heads up, the burger was kind of like cold. It was like lukewarm at best. He goes, truthfully, he's like, you're not the first person who said this recently. I said, obviously I wanted to paint everything first because I wasn't trying to get taken off the bill. I didn't want to put any pressure on you. It wasn't about that. I just want to give you a heads up because some other people might take it out on you, on your tip. They said that, the food was cold, and he only gets a 10% tip just because of the food. So I figured just give him a heads up. Somebody else could probably be a little nastier than me about it. So I figured just warn him about that. Maybe the cooks need to do a little bit better job because a burger should not be coming out cool.
Now we're on to DVC rental side of things, and it's going to be NCL. It's going to be NCL debate, really.
So we're back. We're doing more cruise stuff. We'll do it for a little while longer. I don't want to talk too much about the cruise.
Let's do it.
I don't want to bore people with the cruise stuff.
I'm excited.
But I want to talk about some of the differences. In the last 2 years, I've done Norwegian. So I've done Royal Caribbean a couple times, Disney a couple times, Celebrity, and now Norwegian. So I think some of this might be a surprise to you. I'm going to go with the dining from the worst to the best dining of those.
Can I rank my own too?
Yeah, sure. Make your own rank. What cruise lines have you gone on?
Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, and NCL.
Oh, okay. So all the same except no Disney.
No, only my parents. I can get my mom here real quick.
So fourth for the least best dining. I would say it was the worst, but the least good was Norwegian. We found out a lot of food. Norwegian was cheaper on the food. So you've been on many cruises before. They have good cuts of meat periodically. They'll have the prime rib night, and they'll have a night that has filet mignon, and maybe they'll have a Chateaubriand or like Celebrity. I think or one of the Royal Caribbeans I had. They have lobster tail night. Norwegian had none of that. Like when you when you ordered a steak, every one of their steaks came with French fries. I was like, it made everything feel kind of cheap. It was like,
what did you want it to come with?
Normally a steak will come with like mashed potatoes or
I knew you were going to say mashed potatoes.
Or like potatoes au gratin or some vegetables, something sweet, something like a little fancy, a little bit nicer. I mean, you felt like you were at like a bar. It's like you order a steak and it came with French fries. It's like it felt cheap. The food wasn't as good. I mean, again, it was never bad, but it was just like when you got some sliced steak, like it was very small amounts, very thin slices. Like everything was just not as good as the other ships. And I will say,
well, I'm just going to say this. I mean, this goes back to like a couple episodes ago. Like, am I a dinner person or a dessert person? Like, I'm a dessert person.
You say you are.
So all I register with the cruises is the desserts. So I don't even remember the meals.
I'm hitting desserts coming up, so you're going to be excited about that.
Okay.
But there is a big jump between number 4 Norwegian and number 3 Celebrity. Like as an example, overall food-wise, like I'd give Celebrity a 7.3, where Norwegian gets like a 5.2. There's a big jump. So Celebrity's number 3.
And you guys on freestyle, right? Like you can go when you want?
Yes. Okay. With Norwegian, you could pretty much, they have 3 main restaurants, which you could just pretty much go whatever. We had a set time, but you could pretty much just go whatever you want.
But then on the ship, was there also like 6 different restaurants you could go to?
There's a lot of signature restaurants which you pay for.
Right. Did you go to any of those or no?
We went to, with this cruise, we got 2 free, for the first 2 guests in the room, which would be my wife and myself. You get 2 free meals at the pay-for places. The kids don't get anything. So we actually went to a steakhouse one night, which was
Cagney's.
Yes, look at you, Cagney's, which was.
I've been on way too many NCL cruises.
Which was really, really good. I had the filet mignon with the potatoes au gratin, And what do I have? Oh, onion rings. I shouldn't have gone with the onion rings. They weren't very good. Potatoes au gratin was fantastic. The filet mignon was fantastic. Everything at Cagney's was really, really good. And they have,
So if you were rating Cagney's by itself, that would get a high number.
Cagney's by itself gets a high number. And the other one went to churrascaria, like a Brazilian style, where they come over with the pits, so they cut the meat off for you. That was pretty good as well. I've been to several churrascarias before. I mean, this probably wasn't. It was not as good.
Green chip and a red chip.
Yes, not as good as the other churrascaria restaurants I've been to. They were. Sometimes I sat there for like 10 minutes waiting them to bring out more food. I was like, they didn't do a great job on it, but it was still very, very good.
You're moving quick on your food. You got to talk to your family more.
There's nothing. The kids are in the kids. Actually, the kids are up at the buffet, and my one kid's probably at the kids club, but my other son's probably back in the room waiting for us.
You got ice around your thighs.
I've got ice in my. I'm a waiter, just more ice, more ice. But they're both very good. But celebrities, third. Number 2, I think overall for food is Disney, because I think Royal Caribbean is slightly above Disney in the quality of their food. Just my personal opinion. Royal Caribbean would get, a 7.9 and Disney gets a 7.8. I mean, they're very close. Celebrity gets a 7.5 right up there. And then there was a big drop down to Norwegian. Again, this is just on the regular main restaurants. I'm not counting the Cagney's and stuff, because for Royal Caribbean Disney, I'm not talking about their paid for restaurants as well. One thing that was nice on Norwegian, though, is that they do have a noodle bar, for Asian fusion foods and stuff, and that was very good. There was always a huge line to get into that. We finally were able to get into it the last night, but that was actually very, very tasty. But the main dining hall, for the first time ever, I'm someone when I go on the cruise ship, I don't want to eat at the buffet. I want to sit there and feel like it's a cafeteria, and I'm rushed, and you're touching the tongs, and everybody's touching each other, and the food's sitting out, and it's getting cold. I'd rather sit down at like a nice restaurant and have them serve us food. We stopped going to the sit-down restaurants on Norwegian and started going to the buffets because we found the buffets to be much better than
What do you do for breakfast on a cruise? I'm curious. Do you go to the omelet station?
Oh,
egg white omelet with spinach and green peppers and ham.
I've done it before, not too often, just because it takes a little while. I'm grab and go, especially on this cruise. We wake up early in the morning. A lot of times on a regular cruise, I'll go to the restaurant and I'll have like eggs Benedict. I love eggs Benedict. On the cruise lines is the only time I ever get eggs Benedict. So that's my thing. But on this one, I want to go and just we get up at 6:30 in the morning. I've got to be off the ship by 8. And so we end up just going. I'd grab like a couple like little pastries and like a yogurt. And that was my breakfast. I didn't eat too much because I knew I was now going to be walking around, or I'd be hopping in a bus and driving an hour and a half somewhere. And I did not want to be loading up on food before that hour and a half bus ride with 50 people on board. So we definitely much, much lighter. And this is also the first cruise that I come back to. I didn't gain a pound or 2 pounds per day.
You're walking 6 miles a day.
I wasn't eating as much because the food wasn't as great, and also I spent so much time off the boat that I wasn't eating. Normally, you sit there and you're like, I'm on the boat. Let's see if the pizza place is open. You're constantly, there's not as much to do when you're eating. We were doing so much stuff. I barely ate. We did so much walking. I think I put on like 2 pounds on a 16-day trip to Italy, where I'm eating pastas and pizza and all sorts of stuff, and barely put on any weight. However, I'm going to digress now. I did list the best dessert ships to the worst. Number 1 dessert ship, by far, Norwegian. Norwegian, while they can't cook food for crap.
It's all that matters is dessert in life anyway.
Their dessert guys.
Everything else is just fuel to get you to dessert.
Their dessert guys are on point. Every other cruise ship I've been on, many times it feels like they don't put like enough sugar in the food. Like you get chocolate cake, it's always dark chocolate and bitter, and it's just terrible. Almost every single dessert I had on Norwegian cruise ship was fantastic. So by far, Norwegian had the best desserts, followed by Royal Caribbean, then Celebrity, and then the worst desserts of any cruise ship, Disney. With all the kids and all the money, Disney has the worst desserts out of any cruise line I've been on. Norwegian, super, super solid. And again,
and we're dessert people.
He's a dessert guy.
My whole,
which I don't believe, by the way. He says he's a dessert guy. I've seen this guy eat. This guy is a chicken bean workout machine. He's not eating desserts. But if I'm scoring these, like I scored them before, big gap. Norwegian desserts 8.3. Royal Caribbean is coming in next at a 6.1. And Disney's down at like a 4. So, I mean, big gaps. Norwegian killing it on desserts. So
maybe that's why our family loves Norwegian then.
pastry chef, fantastic. Your regular chef, I could replace. So that's really it for I've got for the cruises for this week.
So one thing you didn't mention, so I'm just going to...
I'm sorry, you ranked yours too. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, so you have
Took
to...
away your thunder.
So I go way back with cruises to 2000. I don't know how far you go back with cruises, but I feel like I go way back. So...
2001?
So the one thing about Royal Caribbean, between Royal Caribbean cruises between, say, 2000 and 2008, I believe, before they introduced My Time Dining, you know, you have to pick a time that you want to eat, and one of them I think is 5:30 to 7. And I want to say it's either 5:30 or 8 o'clock.
Sometimes it's 5:30. Sometimes it's 5. So it's
Right.
either 5:30 or like 6,
one time's
7:30.
too early and one time's way too late.
Yep.
So I don't like those two options. Then on Royal Caribbean, they put you on a table with other people. They try and match you up, I guess, based on your age and if you have kids.
They haven't done. I mean, I've done a bunch of cruises since COVID, and they haven't been.
Right. This is again 2000 to 2008, so it's totally different now.
They haven't been combining tables recently, which is really good. I prefer that. I like. I mean, in the past, early 2000s, as my wife and I, they would always put us at a table of 8 with all these other couples that you don't know, which can be fun. But again, for somebody who's a little more quiet or shy.
Plus
my wife is too. It's not.
You want to talk to your wife.
Yeah, a lot of times like, you do all this stuff throughout the day. You tell the kids, meet us back at the room at 5 o'clock so we get ready for dinner. And a lot of times it's your relaxing time with your kids, and you're finding out how their day went and what they did. So it's being with other families not really my thing on a cruise. Families you don't know. If you're going with friends and stuff, that's cool. But yeah, I don't want to be forced to sit with people that I normally wouldn't want to talk to.
And then 2000 to 2008, I'm also going to say that it feels like more people were, they pack all these outfits for these different nights. Like you have to wear a tux, and it's like, I'm wearing like a suit on a cruise, and I'm like, what am I,
Yeah.
So, and then like we went on Celebrity, I would say that was in-laws, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, and that we didn't eat on that one until we picked 8:30. That's way too late for me. I can't be eating my dessert at 9:50 wearing a suit. Yeah. So what happened was we were at a port sometime, and then we see a ship and it says freestyle cruising, and then it's like, freestyle, what is that? And then it's like, oh, you can eat whatever you want. People, you don't have to dress up. You just got to wear shorts. And I'm like, that's what we want to do. So I mean, again, I rate the foods. I mean, again, because we've done Royal Caribbean since they changed to My Time. So, you can go whenever you want. You don't have to pick a time. And so, that was better. But I'm always going to pick Royal Caribbean. The other thing is the lunchtime. Did you go like to the buffet at lunch ever at the Windjammer, I think?
Oh, you're back at Royal Caribbean.
No, maybe. Okay, what's the NCL's called then? I can't think.
Royal Caribbean's Windjammer. Oh gosh, I can't remember what it's called now in the regions. But I think maybe I ate lunch there like once. Did
they have
most of the time we were off the ship.
Did they have like a rhubarb crisp out there? Or,
no, not often.
Oh, so when I go on NCL for lunch, first of all, I mean, chicken is something.
I think I'm imagining like a rhubarb crisp, one day out of 11 nights.
So rhubarb,
not common.
Like, do you like it, rhubarb crisp, or?
I don't know if I've ever even had it. I've had strawberry rhubarb pie many years ago. I don't know if I specifically had a rhubarb crisp.
Rhubarb crisp is my mom makes the best rhubarb. It's the best thing ever.
I tell your mom to make us some rhubarb crisp. You live 20 minutes away. She lives right by you. Rhubarb crisp.
So NCL makes like it's just unbelievable. It's so good. In like NCL, like chicken is something that there's 1,000 different ways to make chicken. Like NCL, I feel like they make chicken, and again, I like so again, we've done so many cruises that we get free specialty dining things, So like you can go to Cagney's, you can go to this. Like when we went on Norwegian Pool, we went to Norwegian Pearl. We went on to the Italian restaurant a lot. I forget what that place is called. And then, like you say, they have the So you have the Italian restaurant, you have the Brazilian one, and then you have
Ocean Blue or
Cagney's.
something. You have a seafood place.
And then they used to have one, I don't know what it was called, but it was, like it's served like enchilada, Mexican restaurant, I guess. And that was really good because they had a margarita. And so, I would rank them, again, so much has changed, I understand, with Royal Caribbean. Like, I don't know what percentage of people have to pick a time. Like,
I think it's a decent amount now.
Wait, do you still have to pick a time when you go?
Yes.
And which one do you pick, the early one or the late one?
The early one.
So you're...
My kids can't wait till 8 o'clock at night to eat dinner.
See, I was
They
late
can
enough.
barely wait till 5:30. So yeah, we're always early dinner.
So that's what I like the NCL because you can kind of go and when you went to Cagney's, did you have you had a time though that you
Yes,
went, right?
Yeah, for the specialty restaurants, you had to have a reservation.
And then it was smooth getting in. There wasn't a wait.
No, not at all. I mean, I think truthfully, it was never that busy that I'm sure you could have shown up without a reservation and gotten in right away. But they tell you to book a reservation, and we had reservations for it.
Yeah, Cagney's is nice. And
it was very good.
Yeah.
You pick the special sauce that you want on the steak as well. Like Cagney's was very good.
But for breakfast, I like the omelet station. And when on NCL, I feel like they have so many omelet stations that it's not a long wait.
Yeah.
Whereas on Royal Caribbean, it feels...
The crepe station.
Oh, yes.
For dessert at night, the crepe station was pretty cool. We introduced that to my wife on like the second to last night, and she was essentially like, "Where's this been my whole life?" So finished off 2 nights with some crepes at the end, which was nice. And made me sit there and go, at Disney, this crepe would be $12. For here, it's free.
And then one thing you say about desserts, back to Vero Beach. When we went to Vero Beach, we took a 6-pack of Hershey's, Hershey candy bars that they sell all over in Central Florida. Graham crackers. Now they don't sell chocolate graham crackers anymore, which they should. We lost those in the pandemic. R.I.P. chocolate graham crackers. And marshmallows, right? So to make s'mores, because we don't always want to walk down to the s'mores at night where they make them at Vero Beach.
So you brought your own s'mores because you didn't want to walk to where they were making the s'mores and give you everything.
Correct.
Makes sense.
And I discovered, I don't know if this is something that is already done, but we also had double chocolate cookies. I would take a double chocolate cookie, put the Hershey on the cookie, and put the other cookie in the microwave for 10 seconds, then put the marshmallow on, put it in for another 10 seconds, and I was having s'mores with a cookie bottom and a cookie top.
Ooh.
And then my son started doing that, and then he came home, and then he made some ice cream fruit roll-up thing. And then
that's huge on TikTok, by
Is
the
it?
way.
Okay.
I've heard it. Everybody says it's wonderful.
Yeah, it was good.
I haven't tried it. It's good?
Yeah. I mean, all we eat is desserts.
You want to kick it up a notch. Instead of putting the Hershey's inside, you put a peanut butter cup. A Reese's peanut butter cup with the melted marshmallow and the peanut butter.
Now we're talking.
That's how the pigs do it.
So,
all right, let's go.
Okay, that was good. I mean, I feel like we need some more on the NCL cruise because you didn't go down the water slides, but and he didn't.
Next week, I'll talk a little more about Norwegian Cruise Line.
I gotta Google because I swear there's 2 bowling lanes on here.
There might be. I haven't looked.
But thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, and
check out our social media. Check out TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We're all over the place.
Yeah.
So please follow us, comment. We enjoy all the comments. We'll see you soon.
See you next week.